So Mom, whenever you wear Hmong clothes, what does that represent for you? How do you feel?
Nè khe tao te của Hmong nè. I am Hmong. Của Hmong.
Uh-huh. Why are you gonna cry?
I know.
We're just starting. I bet you're probably staring at the screen right now, wondering, what in the world is a Pandau? Well, let me tell you. Wait a minute. Let's establish who I am first. I'm Susan, and if you haven't caught on, I'm the host of this series. Now that we have that cleared, let's continue, shall we? Pandau is this. Not this whole belt right here, but these tiny geometric stitches here. This is what Hmong people, my people, call a traditional Pandau design, and it's been a part of the Hmong fashion for centuries. But during the Vietnam War, well, lots of things changed during the Vietnam War. At that time, because Hmong villagers knew the land, they were recruited by the United States to fight alongside them and against the communist armies. But following the war, and after the United States withdrew their troops, Hmong people were left defenseless, and in many cases, murdered. So in fear of persecution, the Hmongs, like my mom, had to seek refuge in another country.
I'm still young, I'm only 5 years old. Chị cũng mới tu sĩ tử, cũng mới tu blogger được. Nó cũng nhẹ thế cũng xịt. Bây giờ muốn là để nạc hồng. We had to go to Thailand. Bây giờ muốn chạy luôn có thì phải là để thằng chống tu vậy. Bây bay lại hai vé. Chị là mua bé flip over. Cô nói cô nhẹ là qua thì cô chỉ try to back cô nhẹ thế cô cho sister là chị. Cô theo là khẩu tóc. Bây giờ tông nó lo tiền. Nó phải cho tao cô một trò tiết sát thái tế. Một sát tế vậy cô chỉ nói cô nhẹ là để cho cô ông lên làm. Yeah, cô chung một món nè, chung một thứ một đôi dùng để cô qua for like 3 days, so cô tự ăn tiền mà ô chế món clothes nó qua, so I really said what that.
Hmong clothes are usually adorned with a textile art called Pandau, which traditionally is defined by its use of different stitching techniques, vibrant colors, and geometric patterns.
The whole set. That's it.
Traditionally, Hmong girls were taught how to Pandau at a young age, usually by their mother or a female relative. Knowing how to work a needle was a very desired skill to have, mainly because, 1, it is a form of expression, an art. The second reason, and probably the most prominent, was to grab the attention of their suitors. The better the needlework, the more likely you'll be seen as wifey material.
Every year, bé một New Year, that's bé mong hồ nó bé châu, để bé nè mong clothes by papa. If you can for the young girl, hay the boy, then you have to get the best one for mong clothes to wear at that time.
So do you like try to wear your best Hmong clothes so that to impress the?
You make you pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see how she's finishing it up? She turned to the back and
Yep, cho nó nhà pan đau từ lâu. Cho nó nhà cho pan đau từ lâu của ba khe của.
So Pandau Tolao basically means Hmong cross stitch. This is a very original like Hmong style of stitches. Very, very basic, but it's the most important one to start with.
Shui Yi Yang and Suzanne Tao is a mother-daughter duo who heads up Project Pandau. Together, they create a space where people of all ages can learn the history and art of Pandau.
Quân chân tao thì giờ cha bé giờ mong giờ vì bé giờ trồng trò đó bé na chỉ cho giờ lửa giả nè vậy bé giờ mong.
So Pandau, how it's literally defined, right? If you just say Pandau, it's like flower cloth. Hmong Pandau is probably the most original Hmong constructed art. It really goes back thousands of years, and it started with the Hmong people. I think we need to really be clear that our story started before the Vietnam War.
Before the Vietnam War, Pandau was used to make clothing for families to wear. But after the war, it was used to finance their stay in the refugee camps. As a result, new forms of Pandau emerged.
Cho nó thì giờ cho ít sẽ cho bố sẽ cho chị bé cho ban đầu camp nhá Thailand.
One example, the story cloth. Essentially an embroidered tapestry, it is the most well-known form of Pandau today.
What happened was they were in contact with a lot of Westerners that were bringing in food, that were coming in to provide different services. And so what they were seeing was that the Hmong people were very skilled in doing Pandau, like embroidery stitches. And so they've introduced this concept of story cloth.
Is there a difference between how each are designed, between, like what's on your traditional Hmong outfit versus what's on the story cloth?
For Hmong people, especially Hmong Pandau makers, I think for them, it's really about putting design that looks attractive, not necessarily telling a message.
It's more about the art versus a scientific or historical message.
Right. If you look at traditional Hmong Pandau, it's really hard, I think, for foreigners to make sense of them. It looks like geometrical shapes, but they don't really understand the concept of it. And so there definitely was this foreign, Western influence into how story cloth are being made to really be more visually designed to make profit in such a way that Westerners can understand what they were creating.
What did come out of the story cloth is a recording of the Hmong history, from daily life in the refugee camps, to the Vietnam War, to life before the war. The Hmong, who had always been an oral community, were able to use Pandau as a tool to communicate with others. The drawback of the story cloth and many of the post-war designs was that it began shifting the value of Pandau. It was still valuable, yes, but from a consumerism standpoint. Essentially, a price tag drove its worth.
This knowledge around Pandau, the skills that we've always passed on that were seen as valuable, as status-driven. It wasn't passed on anymore. Priority came to how do we survive, how do we adapt to this country. That was the result of a lot of the post-war destruction and disruption to our community. I think Hmong people are very resilient and intelligent and creative. And so I really think that, we do this work because as simple as a thread and a needle and a piece of fabric, it actually reconnects them with this part of who they are that they've forgotten. We had many things going for us even before the Vietnam War. So let's remember that. Let's not start our story with a tragedy.
As for me, the daughter of a Hmong family, I will proudly wear my Hmong clothes, layers, coins, and all. For my mom, who cried 3 days just so she can receive her first outfit. For my family, who I've never gotten to meet. And for my ancestors, who fought to keep our Pandau traditions alive. Because like Suzanne says, Pandau and our traditional outfits are the few possessions left that really, truly is Hmong.
Cái rừng câu ta xí cái cho con nghe rừng câu cái chuyện mà tụi cô đã đa nó cái chuyện mà cho ban đầu rừng câu nó nè cái rừng câu.
Gold teeth?
Yeah.
They put gold teeth in their mouth or to make it pretty?
Yeah. Cái gì là tao là lúa. Cú lúa mà cú nhẹ nhẹ coi á cú tụi tao xé rồi có mà cú mà lúa sao? Giờ cú xí nhẹ cú xí lúa cú nhẹ chủ. Cú chủ lúa đi nó sao?